the Mineski Pro Gaming League Season number 7, sponsored by Gigabyte as well as SteelSeries. It is GGuard Esports going up against MVP HOT6. So if you're a fan of either of those teams, then even if your team loses here, at least they will not be completely out of the tournament because there's still a lower bracket for them to drop into as well. But it is a best of 1 still, unfortunately here. Only the winner bracket final as well as the grand final will be played as best of 3s. But we're HeflaTV, the English coverage for this event. I'm going to be Coucher once again, joined by Grandis V. Do you have any favorites coming into this game?
Honestly, no. I think these teams are fairly evenly matched, and in a best of 1, I could see either of them taking the game in its entirety. We're going to start things off with an Earthshaker, which, in my opinion, is a really hot contested pick between these two teams in particular. You have Jerix on MVP, HOT6, and Net, both of which play a very mean Earthshaker, and I think that it's a worthwhile first pick for GGuard, although maybe not in a lot of games for their team in particular. I think it's just a really good, solid way to start things off. As you said, both of these teams do have that safety net of falling down into the lower brackets, but if they do win this match, they'll be into the winner bracket finals and just one step away from getting the pot, winning the tournament in its entirety. So they would definitely like to take this game. It's going to be Alina and Queen of Pain for MVP HOT6.
Yeah, Lina maybe not that popular of a first phase pick anymore, although still definitely strong enough hero to go for that in the first phase. Also Queen of Pain, probably one of the more contested heroes in this patch. But you just pointed it out, they had a safety net, and also the fact that the winner bracket final is actually going to be a best of 3 is going to be so much better for your team, because best of 1s, they are a little bit funny in some ways, just because you can just pull out this just cheesy strategy of sorts as well if necessary here. But GGuard now, about to go for their second pick. Otherwise, I mean, maybe it's going to be like a Gyrocopter or something like that. But Gyrocopter did get nerfed slightly. Of course, we already talked about it during the pause in the previous game, that it's probably not that big of a nerf, but GGuard, well, they've always favored the Batrider, and it looks like they don't care about the nerfs, they're still going to go for it.
It's still a really good hero, and one of Winter's better heroes for the offlane. I still think that he's worth picking up, and honestly, I think that as time passes by, teams will, I don't know, favor the Batrider a little bit more, especially since Beastmaster is getting banned out pretty much non-stop as of late. He fills that same kind of role and farms up jungle maybe a little bit better once he gets the levels up from the offlane. So he can get that Blink Dagger at a decent timing for himself to get the initiation on even a Queen of Pain fairly reliably. GGuard potentially going to be lacking a little bit of damage after these first 2 picks, and MVP HOT6 are lacking no such hole inside their lineup, but I think both teams are going to be pretty happy with what they've gotten. Jerix plays a pretty good Lina, Queen of Pain for the mid, is also acceptable for MVP HOT6. We're going to see Vengeful Spirit and Viper banned out in the second stage.
Yeah, Vengeful Spirit ban, of course, may also lead to a Throw Ranger ban, quite possibly, although probably just banning out the Throw Ranger would have also been fine. But if MVP want to go for it, they're actually going to have some pretty nice synergy with already Queen of Pain and Alina being there. Lina, of course, with the Fire Soul is going to be attacking extremely fast, so if you just get free extra damage, you can also transition into an easy semi-carry if this should be a support Lina here. If it's a core Lina, even better, to be honest. You could easily just send the Queen of Pain offlane and still pick up the Drow, have the Lina in the mid lane. But Drow, not going to be banned out by GGuard. Do you think that the MVP might go for it now?
Potentially, it wouldn't be a bad pick by any means. If you're looking for Cyclops and the mainstream, that's over at GoSuTV1. So if you're interested in watching from the main stage, Mineski versus Energy Pacemakers going on there. But now back into this game, yeah, Gyrocopter could be pretty good for MVP HOT6, although it does leave them fairly susceptible to being pretty squishy and very easily burst down by GGuard. I think that it would be a reasonable pick at the very least. Maybe they want to go for their other supporter offlaner, however, it's up to them. Let's see what they're going to be most scared of. I think a Skywrath Mage ban would not be out of the question here. They have Queen of Pain and Lina both very easily focused down by the Mystic Flare, and the extra silence for Queen of Pain's already very nice. Combos well with the Earthshaker and Batrider too.
Yeah, I think going for an offlaner definitely wouldn't be too bad for MVP, just maybe go for the Clockwork. They have played it quite a lot in the past as well, so wouldn't be all that just surprised by seeing it. GGuard themselves, of course, they need lots of core heroes. They only have their offlaner as well as just the support for now. Although Earthshaker every now and then is also played in the core role, it's probably a risk you don't really want to take in a best of 1.
It's going to be a Leshrac ban and a Shadow Shaman pick for MVP HOT6. At the moment, Their supporting duo, although it does have a lot of damage and disable between them, is very squishy. And GGuard, I could see them very easily being able to punish this, although I'm not sure what that exactly means for them as a team. It's also very hard to get in range for your disables on the Shadow Shaman early on, and the Lina too, so I'd expect one of them to be starting out with boots first, probably the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, probably so, just getting in range for the shackles early on, maybe the Hex, but as a Shadow Shaman you're more often going to skill up the shackles just because your Hex isn't quite as strong as the Alliance is on level 1. But GGuard now, it's their turn to pick. They of course can easily just go for their own support here. You already said that Skyrift Mage would be a pretty good one up against both the Queen of Pain Lina and now even the Shadow Shaman as well. All just spell reliant heroes for sure. So also Lasso or just Earthshaker Fisher into Mystic Flare would be a good setup. So I see them picking it, of course. If not, maybe a Lion, unless they want to start with their cores. And well, mid laners for example, you could go for a Storm Spirit, although it's not that popular of a hero at this point in time. The Shadow Fiend is also open if you want to just get a little bit of minus armor mixed in there for easy erosions, for example. Or what other options could they go for? I suppose you can like maybe go for like a Safe Flame Bristleback if you want something extremely tanky, or I don't know.
Anything with a good amount of damage for the mid lane for GGuard would be nice. It's going to be a Rubik pick for them. There are a decent amount of spells to steal on the enemy's side, but again, it's going to be a hero that's fairly damage light for GGuard, which is starting to add up as the draft progresses. Their safe lane and mid heroes do need to be pretty heavy hitters. They can't go for very much utility left. Although that said, Rubik, Batrider, and Earthshaker is a really good disabling core for your lineup, and it's going to make it very hard for Queen of Pain to aggressively blink into the enemy team, and honestly, I don't think she can afford to. If she gets lifted up, the follow-up disables from an Earthshaker, or maybe even a Lasso from the Bat, can very easily burst her down, even if they are lacking a little bit of damage.
It's certainly true for now, but they will most likely get damage by the end of this draft, or at least it will make sense for them to do so. Although I have to say it's been quite some time since I've seen a draft that just straight out like lacks damage to kill the enemies. And MVP at the moment isn't all that tanky themselves, but well, from the draft we see so far, we know at least MVP will not be lacking damage. Sonic Wave, Laguna Blade, even Ether Shock to some extent from Shadow Shaman is pretty nice of an ability when it's maxed out. It does have just a max target at a really high count. But MVP only 1 second left and it's gonna be a Juggernaut.
Yeah, pretty interesting for MVP HOT6. At the moment, although GGuard do have a lot of disables, they might find difficulty focusing down both the Juggernaut and the Queen of Pain. GGuard's defensive tri-lane is very good at protecting farm for any hero that they'd like to pick up. So GGuard, what is that hero going to be at the moment? It's just going to be so very hard for that single core to really pull through this game. The nuke damage from MVP HOT6, both physical, magical, and pure, is ridiculous. Although Lina probably not going to get Aghanim Scepter until much later on. Eventually that should be coming out, and even before then, just having the Laguna Blade at like level 2 or so is still reasonable to get kills on most heroes. So GGuard, there's a decent amount of pressure on them to really perform. This Batrider needs to get an early blink and needs to set up kills with it, or else they're just going to be drowned by the amount of DPS from MVP HOT6.
That's certainly true at the moment, but what heroes are there really? I mean, if it was 6.83, it's like, you go for Troll Warlord now, lots of damage, or well, I guess 6.83 would have also had a Sniper in it, but Sniper, he can still dish out the damage for sure, if he can stay in the backlines, but you're up against the Queen of Pain who can just blink next to you. Juggernaut may even go for a blink the scheme as well, just to like blink Omni slash the Sniper if necessary. So I think for GGuard, one more hero that can actually provide damage to the team is necessary as the 5th one.
I think so, but as a general rule, I actually quite like this Sniper pick for GGuard. They have really good heroes at protecting the Sniper and initiating the fights away from that hero to allow him to get off the right clicks throughout the fight and able to do the damage. So I think because there's only one innate blinker, and that's the Queen of Pain by herself, probably not enough to kill the Sniper if he goes for a relatively tanky build, maybe an early Sange or just any amount of stats. I can see this working out for GGuard, although I think MVP HOT6, their lineup just looks a little bit more reliable. There's less pressure on them to perform. I think this game, more than most, Winter is going to have to pull out some good plays on the Batrider, and although generally there is going to be some pressure on the Bat to get some kills, I'm not sure if there's going to be as much as usual. Both teams have completely run out of the reserve times. There's actually no 5th ban coming out from GGuard. Centaur is the ban from MVP HOT6. I'm actually really interested about that Centaur ban. Maybe it's just a panic ban since they were running out of their reserve time, but would that have really fit into GGuard's draft? I think they need a little bit more physical DPS.
I would agree with that one, but MVP, they may know GGuard better than we do. Of course, I do know that Winter has loved the Centaur for a really long time, but then again, same with the Batrider, and if the Centaur had come out, it probably would have gone into the hands of somebody else for the safe lane. But I definitely wouldn't have liked that pickup. As for MVP though, it's gonna be a Nyx Assassin for themselves. And, well, it is another hero to try to sneak yourself next to the Sniper. A pretty good hero to have up against Batrider as well with the Spike Carapace. But if GGuard now go for like an actual late game hero, they're going to be looking pretty good going into that late game, especially since MVP Lina for them is most likely going to be in the support role, which means that getting like a Yules and Aghanims up is going to take some time for her.
Potentially, but back on the next pick, I do like it, and especially as it is very good against the bat, being able to just walk into the fire and then pop that Spike Carapace. But the last pickup for GGuard's a Lifestealer. A blast from the past here, a hero that I would like to see picked up more and more often, but with his innate magic immunity this game, although the physical damage from the Juggernaut as well as the Queen of Pain's ultimate is still going to pierce through that, I think it's a reasonable pick in all honesty. They have a decent carrier in the Batrider as well. This could work out for Ben, although I think it's a little bit more risky than going for a more traditional late game hero.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and it's really the matter. Like I said, Sonic Wave of course goes through the rage. So does the Omni Slash, so will the Lina's Laguna Blade if Cherax manages to get an Aghanim Scepter. And Lifestealer isn't the tankiest of strength heroes in all honesty. I mean, of course you can build tanky, but you don't have the massive health pool just normally. And I'm a little bit worried about this pick. Of course, kiting wise, maybe MVP's like supports aren't that fast on their feet. Shadow Shaman could be easy fodder, just open wounds and just munch him down while raged.
At the moment, we'll go ahead and introduce our teams. On the dire side is GGuard, with Yamate playing on the Sniper, looking towards the mid lane. Ben going to be farming up that Lifestealer. Winter's actually going to be playing the Rubik. Very interesting from GGuard. Earthshaker is going to be played by Ling, and is that a net Batrider? Huh, okay, so this is very peculiar. Winter is very comfortable on the Batrider, and Net is very comfortable on the Earthshaker. These heroes assignments are very, very odd. GGuard are trying something new.
Maybe they're trolling us with their accounts and they logged in with like wrong accounts or something,
dear.
But it's a possibility, although I don't think they would do that in such a just major scale tournament, but I definitely agree with you there. It's feeling awkward to not play the heroes you're most comfortable with, in all honesty. I know Ling plays a pretty good Rubik as well, and it's a little bit awkward, but being high level players, they're probably comfortable with most heroes, as he having some FPS lag issues.
Yeah, I think it's just a wasted bit of talent, though. I am tempted to say that they're just trading accounts, and that Net's actually playing on the Earthshaker, but his Earthshaker is just so darn good. Yeah, I don't know. This is very peculiar. We saw GGuard in the GGuard challenge, and in the latter games, they really did struggle. So maybe they are looking for something to get them out of this funk and try some different lane assignments.
Yeah, it's just about finding that new style of harmony between their team, I suppose. But they are ready to at least try again. Hopefully it's going to work out as well properly for them. But for the side of MVP, Zombie on the Nyx Assassin, of course, heading towards the offlane. Cherax is gonna be on the Lina, leaving MP, Mental Protector on the Queen of Pain. Forev on the Juggernaut, and the last one is gonna be Heen, playing that Shadow Shaman for them. And just gonna be standard lanes, probably from both sides.
Yeah, well, at the moment, top rune spot's gonna be sat on by the Dire team. I don't think there's anything the Assassin can do to stop this. He's sitting on a Mango, and Boots is his opening item. It's pretty risky coming out from Soonbi, but with that 4 HP regen per second, even without any HP regen items, he's still going to be pretty hard to zone out of the lane, although with no damage block or any further defensive capabilities. He can feasibly die to the Rubik, Lifestealer, and Earthshaker lane, but for the time being, Ling is down towards the bottom lane. Looks like he wants to block off these creeps to help out the Batrider get some more experience.
Well, for the first creep wave though, he's a little bit too late, so is it actually gonna be like a legit dual lane, or is he gonna be there to just block the second creep wave and then escape? Doesn't matter which it is, they are maybe a little bit too late to the party for the first one. Didn't get a single just second of body blocking onto the creeps. And with that, it's a little bit harder for Net now to stay in range. I mean, like, Shackles into Blade Fury.
Up towards top? lift onto Soon, but he hasn't skilled anything up. He's going to go for Impale, going to drop that into Winter, but the body blocks from the lifesteal. This might still be the first kill for GGuard. They needed a little bit more damage than one auto attack from Ben, and so they won't be able to draw it there. But another interesting thing's happening. Usually out this lane with the Earthshaker and the Batrider works, the Earthshaker goes off and protects the sniper, but Yamate has actually delivered himself a Slippers of Agility after getting that early bounty rune. Looks like he wants to get a very fast Ring of, not Ring of Aquila, but a secondary Wraith Band to last it up against the Queen of Pain.
I mean, it's probably not that bad of an idea. Of course, usually, like any kind of extra investment may not be the best of things, but if it does allow you to just control your lane a little bit better, it's definitely going to be worth that investment. Of course, it's not even that expensive of an item, but Yamate so far is looking fine, has 2 points into take aim and Mental Protector himself. Did tank the tower a little bit, got a couple of hits into him as well, even one headshot there. And so far, mid lane is rather even, and to be honest, this kind of a mid lane matchup is almost always gonna be like dead even. Queen of Pain, usually it's like you blink in, do your burst damage, not quite enough to kill the sniper there, and suddenly you're in the shrapnel and might lose your own life. So I think without supports rotating, it should be both sides like surviving and just farming.
For the time being, Ling has been sitting around the mid lane a little bit, potentially offering Fissure support as well if the Queen of Pain does blink in. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see no support rotations. Although the Haste and Heen might be going for it, but there's going to be action up top. They're going to lift back the Nyx Assassin. This time they have a Fissure block if they need it. And well, with no availability of having that Spike Carapace, he's going to be blocked off nicely. Winter draws first blood up in top lane. In the meantime, they lose their sniper to that Haste rune of the Shadow Shaman. A close call for both teams, but GGuard are going to get that extra infusion of gold.
That was just one of the closest timings in just missing first blood for MVP there. But of course, they did get the kill nonetheless, and even with the Shadow Shaman coming in to help, the Queen of Pain still dropped that low on health, and had it been a 1v1, Yamate might have been able to just win that fight. So far, is level 4 but doesn't have Shrapnel. Well, now he does. Just waited a little bit to skill it up with.
We'll just remain the status quo as GGuard really aren't going to be rotating too much. Earthshaker is going to be stacking up inside the woods, as is the Rubik, and the stack that they've created is pretty big. It's a triple stack up for the Batrider later on, and since Net has found himself level 3, he can fairly easily farm this up. Even with the reduced damage on Firefly, it's still pretty reliable.
So at the moment, top lane Nyx Assassin does hit that level 3, so probably gonna go for that 1 point into Spike Carapace. At least I kind of hope he is. Of course, if you're a lifestealer and you have rage, you maybe not, or maybe you don't care as much, but even then. And do you think this Nyx Assassin would have had a better time had he skilled Spike Carapace on the first level? Never mind, goes for a second point into Impale.
I think that's completely standard. I think the more interesting part is him going for the early point in mana burn. And it is stopping the Lifestealer from being able to get off open wounds, I suppose, but yeah, it is an interesting skill choice. Regardless, he's going to have that point into the Spike Carapace sooner rather than later. Nyx Assassin, as a general rule, does struggle pretty often inside the offlane. He's going to bump into Winter, pull back, and that is going to stop any pulling attempts. But now, getting walled off, the Earthshaker is there. The Batrider is also over the sidelines. That needs to be careful. A dangerous game for him. Impale going to connect. He can't get in range for the mana burn. The uphill fog is going to be too much, and body blocking Ling will secure the kill for the team as Rubik gets yet another one for GGuard.
Nyx Assassin definitely not having a fun time, and it was really fun to see on the minimap as well, just heroes coming literally from all sides of the Nyx Assassin there, just converging upon him. But MVP, although they lose the Nyx Assassin, they're trying to make up with it with just pressuring the bottom lane in return. Forever does have that 1 point into healing ward if he wants to pop it down. They're probably gonna have to wait for the next creep wave to arrive, but it is really close to the tower as it is anyway. I don't think they're gonna be able to destroy the entirety of the tower, but still some nice pressure and maybe forcing somebody of GGuard to react.
Yeah, they'll be able to take it sooner rather than later. They are being left in a 3v0 situation after all. Earthshaker is going to be there to maybe pull off creep aggro periodically and get a little bit of experience, but by himself can't stop this push by any means. They're going to glyph it up. It's at half damage already, and maybe they can just take it. The raw amount of damage that they're bringing with the Juggernaut. They TP in droves. 2 TPs, 1 Light Strike Ray going to connect on the Net with a crit. The shackles are cancelled immediately, however, and Net is going to be able to get out of there alive, although Foreb did a decent chunk of damage there. Ling is still hovering around down this lane, as is the Rubik. The tower's in deny range, and it looks like GGuard want to try and secure this deny for them. 55 HP, it's standing very low, 23. Fissure and a deny from the Batriders. GGuard, although it's a costly deny of the tower, it still pays off in the end.
Yeah, it was just the fact that Blade Fury being on a rather long cooldown they couldn't reliably go back in and try to just force that last hit for themselves, MVP that is. So they had to just let the deny happen, and GGuard, at least they are still farming up the other 2 lanes. Yamate in the mid lane is kind of neck and neck with the Queen of Pain, even with Mental Protector getting the kill earlier on with the help of Heen. And top lane, well, Nyx Assassin, he's just enjoying that he got some space here, that the supports are occupied on another lane.
Yeah, it'll get him level 4, but now being pursued around the trees by Ben. After all, it is a level 4 hero versus a level 5 hero. Shadow Shown down towards bottom, going to be killed off by a fissure and a little bit of Firefly damage from the bat. That's going to propel their Bat Rider towards his level 6. His net is almost at that mark to where he's going to have his Flaming Lasso online, and then about halfway towards his Blink Dagger once he farms up the stack that has just been prepared for him.
And stacks are something that support should always be creating, especially if they're roaming around anyway and running past the camps. Might as well stack them up. I mean, sometimes teams don't have the best clearers of stacks, but most of the time you're gonna have at least like one hero who can still take care of them rather easily, at least later on in the game. For MVP, for example, it's even Lina who can clean them up with Dragon Slave and Light Striker if necessary.
Queen of Pain rotates up towards top, but I believe GGuard spotted out this rotation with a Dire Observer ward inside the mid lane. And at the very least, they know the Queen of Pain isn't there. She's going to bump into the Bat Rider. This is a fairly easy kill for the Queen of Pain. 2 points up in that Shadow Strike, but she doesn't feel safe going that deep with no vision on the supports coming out from GGuard. Instead, she's going to change focus and meander back and forth between the mid and top lane. She just hasn't found a clean opening yet. Inside mid, they're going to jump onto Heen with Fissure and a little bit of shrapnel damage, but far from lethal there. As MP is still just interrupting the Bat Rider's farm. This is pretty interesting, and now it's going to blink forward. Sonic Wave. Does he have the Scream damage? The Scream is going to connect, bottling up. It's not going to be enough. Bat Rider is going to lose his life.
Sequencing of abilities was a little bit awkward by
top lane.
Oh.
They're going to lose Soonbi as well, as he's lifted up and brought down by the Lifestealer. Lina comes in, but a little too late.
Forever even also TP'd, but after the TP doesn't even have enough mana for that ultimate anymore. Does have a magic stick, but with only 1 charge. It's just not gonna cut it for Forever either. So TP rotations maybe not as great, although, oh, he drops low and oh, the Fissure actually snipes him. For a second I was like, oh no, he's fine. Assassinate didn't kill him, but Fissure just such a long range one, and I have to say, Link so far on the Earthshaker has had a pretty nice game.
Yeah, I think so too. GGuard are holding down the fort nicely, even though they have lost their sniper once inside mid lane. Getting him involved in another kill is going to catch him back up very close. He has a lot of stat items under his belt, and even though sniper's usually very squishy, he's sitting on about 1000 HP, which is more than you usually see on your snipers this early into the game. Things are looking alright for them, but it's going to get a lot better once they get the Bat Rider's Blink. Dying once to the Queen of Pain like that is going to cost him a lot of gold and a lot of time. This Blink Dagger is probably not going to come out until 12 minutes or so.
Well, to think positively, it could have been worse as well. It could have been Bat Rider dying like next to the creep wave with the Scream of Pain and Sonic Wave finishing up the creeps at the same time as getting the kill, for example. But Net now will go in, just farm it up, as Mental Protector mid lane will be forced out by Yamate. And Sniper, last hit wise, is quite far ahead of the Queen of Pain by now as well. 40 last hits to 28.
Yeah, which is really nice for him. The Queen of Pain rotating around, although it did net her a kill onto the Bat Rider, gave the Sniper a lot of free space inside the mid lane. So that's why Yamate is now sitting on a decent CS advantage, which is pretty good for GGuard in all honesty. Another hero that should be rotating around and is right now is Soonbi on the Nyx Assassin, but he's been spotted out entirely by this Dire Observer ward. I don't expect this rotation to pan out for them, even though they don't have high ground detection. He's going to go for it anyway. Yamate is going to be impaled up, although Light Strike Ray misses. It doesn't matter with the Scream coming in from MP. Now chasing forward for Ling. Ling down to about half HP, but won't go down. The Queen of Pain's ultimate just came off of CD, but I'm honestly surprised that Sniper got caught out by that. They spotted out the Vendetta usage.
Yeah, he was just a little bit overconfident maybe in his health pool. Oh, another blink. Telekinesis has been used already. They're probably gonna get the kill on Winter. One more attack is all they need, even with the Fate Bolt reducing their damage. Metal Protectors just had enough, and with the healing ward down, they may even just try to push down mid lane, for example. Top lane though, Heen trying to defend up against Ben, but Lifestealer, if he gets the open ones on Shadow Shaman, it's probably gonna be a kill.
Yeah, more or less. At the moment, Heen's just trying to soak towards his level 6, and if he can get it without dying in the top lane, it's a pretty big win for MVP's support. Inside mid lane, the Nyx Assassin is now caught out inside the Shrapnel, although he does have a Spike Carapace, that's not going to save his life. He's taking tower shots, and he's going to get smacked down by Ling's Enchant Totem. 4 to 6 our kill score at the moment, pretty close for either side, but GGuard with a slight farm lead.
So it's always nice to see close games like this. But it's just mostly this Nyx Assassin not doing all that great for himself. 4 deaths, only 1 assist there as well. But since he has at least level 6, so he should be fine that way to just go around ganking people. MP in the meantime will have a... No, nothing flying out for him. It's going to be Forev's Mask of Madness. And for the Queen of Pain, is it going to be an Orchid game once more to just deal with the Lifestealer, or to go for Aghanims? No, looks like Orchid with the drop of the Magi Purchase.
Nyx Assassin's up towards top, rotating on the Lifestealer. Ben sticking around maybe a little too long. This is a great kill for them. They'll open up with the Impale, wasting no chances for Ben to be able to get off that Rage, and they're going to be able to burst him down. Nyx Assassin even getting the last hit. Although the Lifestealer was able to purchase up the lion's share of his armlet before falling down, that's really good for MVP, and if they can keep this up for Soonby, the Nyx Assassin can come back from this game in a big way.
Yeah, he most certainly can, and of course, this kill was also a little bit of a revenge there. Lifestealer had been in use against Nyx Assassin, and they're also going to transition quite nicely into a tower push now. He has that level 6, Mass Serpent Wards are down, and even with the Glyph, GGuard aren't making any moves to actually defend this tower, so a kill on the Lifestealer plus a tier 1, a great turn of events.
For sure. GGuard in trade for that are going to get the space for the Batrider to farm up his Blink Dagger near enough. After these creep stacks, he's going to have it. And that's where GGuard can start turning up the heat. Batrider takes maybe a little bit longer than the Nyx Assassin to get on the line. He does need that first item, but once he does have that, the potential for GGuard to get kills is probably a little bit greater than MVP, given the right circumstance. They can find somebody out solo, so this is a huge pickup for them. Let's see what Net can do.
Yeah, he's gonna have to start make something happen for them, and well, they're gonna have to
Ben
have
up
the
top.
Batrider with him. Oh, no. There's the Rage. This time around, Ben is fast enough. Of course, I think Soonby... Did he start with the Vendetta hit this time?
Yes.
And
Which I think is, yeah, a little bit overzealous, but without that extra damage, I don't think they would have been able to get that kill since it was just the Queen of Pain to full up. Shadow Shaman was lagging behind.
But Shadow Shaman's still around, and they can still go if they want to. But of course, it's not going to be as easy when you don't have an Invis hero to just initiate for you. The mid lane, though, a 3-man smoke. For a second, I was like, are they really 3-man guarding Yamate there? Yamate maybe trying to act as bait, but nobody's really taking it for now. Cherax instead gonna try to farm up the jungle maybe, or at least stack it up for Forever if nothing else. And Forever, Mask of Madness. Oh, he might run straight into the gank with amplified damage taken.
Oh, we'll just have to see. Looks like nothing's gonna happen. Everybody just walks out there cleanly. Even though the smoke came out, they're going to jump into the sniper instead. Yamate's inside the river and now caught out. A Fissure's gonna help disengage, and they also have a Batrider up in the high ground, but now impaled. Although the impale doesn't connect onto anybody but Net, it might be enough to get this Batrider kill. Jerax is getting assassinated and will lose his head. Although a smoke, it's going to be a clutch dodge. They were just far enough away in order to pull that off. Well played by MVP.
That's so clutch. I mean, it was literally the moment before the just bullet hit him there as well. Forever though has an Omnis Flash, wants to use it, but gets stunned up as well. Telekinesis. Beautifully done by the Earthshaker once more in the backline. Soonby wants to go for a kill, but there's a sentry down. Spike Repress into Yamate no anyway, and Link also gets hit by the Sonic Wave. Should be chased down, goes into Roach Pit, tries to TP out, and there are no stuns to stop it. So nice TP, but in the end, it's still a somewhat better trade for MVP.
Yeah, they'll get the tier 1 tower after the fact. That's really what tips the scales in their favor. Trading Juggernaut for Sniper is close enough, I'd suppose. Sniper is going to go very heavy into this early stats build. He's going to finish up a Sange sooner rather than later after going for the Keela and 1 Wraith Band. So MVP are getting a decent amount of early momentum under their belt. And Nyx Assassin is going to have his Blink Dagger soon. Soonby, even though his early game started out pretty poorly, going 0-4, since then, he's been involved in a lot of kills with the team and has generally played pretty good.
Yeah, and it's also just helped his team so much after that as well. They are now with a 2k net worth lead, whereas it used to be about 2000 for GGuard. XP has also turned around completely from 1k from GGuard's favor to now the Radiant sides. Of course, 1k isn't that big of a deal, but even Shadow Shaman halfway through his blink now already. MP getting closer to the Orchid as well, although it's not going to be all that fast for the Queen of Pain. Mental Protector is still the highest farmer.
At the moment, things have slowed down a little bit as MVP have been forced to fall back and replenish their strengths in order to come back and look for a push again. All the tier 1 towers having already fallen, it's going to be harder for MVP to go into these tier 2s, and they'll probably have to wait until they get a pick off first. Not to say that that's not possible, but it does give GGuard a window to where they can look for an Infest Bomb with Net. He's over in the sidelines waiting for somebody to show themselves in the safe lane. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, however. Everybody else is grouped up inside mid. They haven't shown themselves yet. They're going to smoke up his 4 and potentially look for a jump onto Yamate on the sniper. They're going to go on an intercept course as he goes over to farm some Ancients, it seems, or maybe farm down towards the bottom lane. This could be a big fight either way, but they're going to show themselves in mid with a scream from the Quap.
What build is Cherax even going for, by the way? Has a bracer, has a cloak. I mean, it might be a Glimmer Cape even though it got nerfed. It's still a pretty solid item, but...
I think we call this one the poverty build. It's just a lot of value items for him. It's going to help out his sustainability inside the fight. Soul Ring and Tranquil Boots means that he's always going to have mana for his spells, and then with the Cloak and Bracer, it's just value survivability. It's going to delay Yule's Scepter or any sort of setup, but since he isn't getting that much income to begin with, I think it's completely fine.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I'm just gonna go and try to survive the fights and get gold that way by being there for the assists netto. With Lifestealer in him, he's only by himself, and well, they're gonna need to find a single hero, and Cherax might be that single hero. Flame Break to push him back a little bit, open wounds to slow him, and Cherax, well, he's definitely gonna lose his life. Did get the stun and Laguna Blade to maybe allow for the others to kill Net now, if they can get close enough.
And can they bridge that gap? Blink away by the Batrider and blink in by the Queen of Pain. It looks like Batrider is going to buy himself that space over in the sidelines. Rubik is going to get his hands on Impale, which is actually an amazing spell to have. Very long range disable, set up very easily by Telekinesis. With no cast time, it probably doesn't get much better this game in all honesty.
Yeah, probably not. It's just a really great stun. Of course, Rubik, he now wants to get a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff to get the positional advantage as well. Get the correct angling of that Impale, hit multiple targets. But so far, one thing that's somewhat weird is we're 17 minutes in, we already have a level 2 Omni Slash, and I don't think we've even seen that ability used.
Not to my knowledge. At the very least, it wasn't very impactful. Rev has only been involved in 1 kill, he's died once. Not to say that he's farming poorly, the Juggernaut's still getting a good amount of gold income, but he hasn't been very involved.
Yeah, of course, looks like MVP haven't really needed that as well. Of course, had he been more involved with the Omni Slashes, maybe it's even a bigger of a lead for MVP, but for now it's perfectly fine. Mental Protector in the mid lane is getting really close to his Orchid being finished as well, although Nyx Assassin, he Vendetta, and is this a bug or did it really just come out of it somehow?
That was really interesting. Vendetta or not, he's going to get a Blink Impale onto Ling in mid, but now the counter initiation comes out from Net, blinking with the Lifestealer in tow, they'll kill off 2 very quickly, although everybody else is going to end up surviving. GGuard were prepared for that.
I have no idea how you even like cancel the Vendetta. Can you like right click a buff off of you or something?
That could be a possibility, but yeah, that was weird.
I don't know either, but he still initiated with the Blink, of course. Maybe he just didn't have another choice, but they lose Forever once more before the Omni Slash is used, and Lifestealer is looking pretty solid with the Armlet, plus another 2k after that as well. Of course, his biggest enemy has arrived onto the just battlefield, the Orchid and Queen of Pain.
This is going to make it a lot harder for the Lifestealer to survive throughout the fights. Even though Rage, if preemptively popped, can stop an Orchid, Blink and the Orchid from the Queen of Pain generally gets kills onto the Lifestealer, even if she's just solo. Although Armlet might help Ben survive, it's not a reliable way to live throughout all of that, especially if there's any further follow-up, and chances are there will be when you have a Blink on your Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, it's definitely likely. So Batrider is in the jungle, but does force out a Blink from Mental Protector. Earthshaker in the meantime finishes up his own Blink Dagger. A pretty good timing, 19 minutes in. Shadow Shaman though is gonna get his own as well in, well, 17 seconds if he just waits it out. So both supports get a Blink Dagger at a very just similar timing. And it is hard to say whose Blink will be more effective. Shadow Shaman's is probably easier to use in the sense that you just Blink Hex somebody, whereas scouting out for a Blink Echo Slam is a little bit harder.
I think the difference is more that Shadow Shaman's is more consistent and can get those precision pickoffs whenever you need them, and Earthshakers can be more explosive inside the 5-on-5 fights. I think this favors MVP slightly, but not by much. Both teams have allocated gold nicely throughout this game to make sure that their supports don't fall super far behind. Although you're not going to see a Blink Dagger on Winter for the longest of times, it's still going to come out sooner rather than later.
What is MP doing there? Queen of Pain just... That's
a good question.
Of the map. Split pushing, okay.
I could potentially understand it if maybe the lane was pushed out to this point and the Queen of Pain is waiting for a pickoff, but nobody's even close. Eventually he's going to blink his way out of the trees. Maybe he had to tie his shoe or something. We'll just go ahead and get back to this game. A smoke up coming up from MVP is the fight looks to be breaking out in mid, if it's going to break out anywhere at all. They're going to ping out a handful of heroes, or rather that's just MVP pinging out on the map where they'd expect them to be, but now it's scouted out. They know exactly where GGuard are rotating towards, and the next Assassin's going to be leading the charge for MVP.
Yeah, he should Vendetta, and that's exactly what he's gonna do as well, and oh, Yamate might be the one to just taste that Vendetta.
There's going to be an Assassinate over onto the Queen of Pain. Cancelled, however, so the next Assassinate is going to open up. The Omni slash Laguna Blade, Yamate, no chances taken. They're going to stun out net with that Spike Carapace, silence him up with the Orchid, and now try to disengage. The Lifestealer is running into it, but they're fighting under Serpent Wards, and it's not a place they can be comfortable with. Fisher's over in the sidelines, coming out from the Earthshaker. He's going to blink out to safety too. After the dust settles, it was just that sniper pickoff.
They used 3 ultimates as well, pretty much for him. Vendetta, Laguna Blade, as well as the Omni Slash, but it's worth it. Also, although the Mass Serpent Wards die, at least nobody farmed it up themselves. But GGuard now, they want to get something, and he is gonna be that something, I think. Oh no, he blinks out. Nice, GGuard blinking to Roach Pit, but just not to find anything.
That was an Echo Slam also used inside that Roach Pit, so expecting MVP to back off and go there. They're not going to be met with anything big. Now blink in from the Nyx Assassin. He's going to get his Spike Carapace stolen by the Rubik. He wasn't sitting on any spell, so at this moment Winter will take anything he can get. But yeah, that was really awkward coming out from GGuard. They really expected MVP to going for Roche.
If they had been Roche, probably would have been a pretty nice play from GGuard, but now it just ended up as a waste. The positive is that MVP, I don't think they know the Echo Slam was used, so they may still play as the Earthshaker still had and just be a little bit afraid of it.
Yeah, sometimes the threat of the spell is greater than the impact of the spell itself, so MVP will still be forced to spread out a little bit, but if they had intel, this could be the good to go for them to push as soon as they have their Omni Slash back up and running, which is going to be there in 30 seconds for Forev. And speaking of him, he's going to be sending out a full S and Y on the Courier, and MP also has an Ogre Club there, presumably for a BKB on the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, BKB definitely not going to be a bad item with Earthshaker just providing the lockdown, and not only him, also the Rubik, especially if you steal that Impale from Nyx Assassin. As Forstaff is finishing the Pathfinder now, making it a little bit easier to just drag somebody completely out of position, and to be honest, almost no matter who gets caught by that lasso should die in this game.
Yeah, not to say the Bat has been playing poorly, but it doesn't feel like GGuard have gotten too many openings with that lasso. But it's still a very powerful tool, especially at defending high ground. GGuard's high ground defense is one of the best. The carry you want most when you're in that situation would be a sniper, just being able to sit back and relax as the enemy team tries to struggle getting up through all those layers of shrapnel and what have you. And then Earthshaker and Batrider are kings of that scenario as well. So GGuard, even though they're on the back foot, can still run away with this game. As MVP have very much stalled out.
At the moment, of course, GGuard, they know exactly where MVP is thanks to this Observer Ward in the jungle. But they're not going to be making a move. They don't have a smoke, I think. Do they have? Nope, it's going to restock in 5.5 minutes, and well, they have one on Rubik if they want to use it. But for now, they're just going to be farming up themselves. Sniper and Lifestealer should give them a pretty solid chance in the late game, and of course Batrider initiation late game is also going to be an excellent just thing to have for your team. But now with the Mass Serpent Wards, even an Orchid onto Roshan as well for some extra damage there, they're going to take it rather easily.
MVP will smoke into the Roshan pit. It's going to be GGuard none the wiser because of this. They're going to spot out the Shadow Shaman, picking up a Haste Rune. And although that does give them the intel, it's way too late. The second life is already up for Forev as they mop up that Roshan. Although they do have to commit their Serpent Wards for it, it's fine. Nyx Assassin pops the smoke. They drop a sentry on the ground, but a blink hacks in onto the Batrider. Echo Slam committed. Ling is going to be able to drop down the Nyx and Shadow Shaman, but everybody's going to fall to Forev as well as the Queen of Pain. The damage from those two is immense. They'll glimmer up the Juggernaut as he chases forward for Ben. Armlet toggling to the best of his ability. It's not going to be enough, and now Yamate stands alone. The sniper that's alone is not very happy at all. He's going to try to take one with him, and maybe it's going to be the Aegis. He will get that Aegis the Immortal off of Forev, but it's an ultra kill for him, and MVP win a huge fight.
That was massive indeed. Of course, had Lina just had a little bit more mana, they need not have even used the Aegis, but they're perfectly fine with taking that trade and quite possibly even get the tier 2 on top of that. But that Sonic Wave landing onto 4 with the Omni Slash finishing up 3 of those heroes, that was pretty much the perfect fight, and to be honest, GGuard didn't even have that bad of a start to the fight with the way the Earthshaker played.
Tier 2 tower in mid lane is going to fall immediately after the act for MVP as well, which is pretty good. GGuard at the moment are without their major tools to look for those initiations, the biggest issue is that Batrider wasn't able to get a lasso inside that fight, wasn't able to isolate the Queen of Pain or Jug. They were able to get their full damage kit off, and even though the Echo Slam was really good for killing off the Shadow Shaman and Nyx, their work was pretty much already done. The Shadow Shaman got his Blink Hex initiation off, Nyx Assassin scouted out the entire enemy team, and since he didn't have the Serpent Wards, it didn't really feel relevant that they got it. There's going to be a Blink Lasso down towards bottom, they'll find MP and bring her down before she's able to blink out alive. Without the BKB on her person, the chances of survival are slim. It's a mega kill spree down the drain, picked up by the Bat.
Yeah, it's a lot of gold, 757 for the Bat, even 500 for the Earthshaker on top of that. But it's really just a small drop in the pond, pretty much. Just because after the last couple of fights, MVP have taken a pretty substantial lead of 10,000 net worth as well as 7.5k XP. Zombie with a double damage rune, Vendetta up, looking for something, although I don't think he's gonna find the kill by himself.
Inside the mid lane, he has gone undetected for the time being and will bump into Ling. But he doesn't necessarily know where the Rubik is, although he spots out the sniper, he's not going to feel comfortable going for that kill. He'll drop his damage burst combo, and although it drops the Earthshaker to 375 HP, he can't go for any more. Unfortunate for the Nyx Assassin, what he wouldn't pay to have his Dagon finished now.
Dagon, always a fun item to have, as Chirax also going to have his Yule Scepter soon enough on the Lina. Does really only need the recipe next, and shouldn't take too long for Elina to farm that one up, as Forever trying to push it here too, but will back off. Did he see Net coming? I think so. Yeah, Net pings out the wards as well because of it. Does have a gem, so well, he knows they are there, of course, but he doesn't even dare go de-ward them.
At the moment, things have slowed down a little bit for MVP, but the Lina is farming quite well, in all honesty. As a support Lina, when you have a Nyx Assassin on your team, you do get a decent amount of space to flash farm through the woods or take a couple of lanes where it's risky for your teammates. So with the Yule Scepter, Glimmer Cape, Soul Ring, all of these small value items, Jerix is a force to be reckoned with inside these team fights. MVP, when they have the BKB on the Queen of Pain, or when they decide to use that BKB on the Queen of Pain, GGuard's responses to it are pretty limited. The physical damage for the Sniper, although okay, isn't particularly the greatest since he has gone for just the mass stats build, although standard isn't usually going to cut it, and I don't see Lifesteal actually being able to get on top of the Queen of Pain and get some right clicks off.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen up until the point he gets like an Abyssal Blade for himself, but he's going to need to farm a really long time for that one. And he might even die here. Chirax glimmers himself up, has the Yule Scepter, or no Yule Scepter yet, but gets the stun, gets the Laguna Blade as well, but won't have enough damage and might get turned around upon. Nope, Ben, he is gonna, oh, never mind, not gonna escape. Sonic Wave, of course, pure damage. I really thought he's gonna make it out with the armlet extra health, but not to be, and Forever also in the meantime gets himself a Skadi finish.
A close call for MVP, but making no hesitation. Zubi is going to be caught out equally by GGuard, so it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth after getting the lifesteal, but still a good trade for the MVP side, especially since they've made enough space for the Juggernaut to have a full Eye of Skadi out. Forev is doing a lot of damage and is pretty hard to bring down too. GGuard seem to be just getting the lesser half of the stick every time they take a trade.
So that we're now going to come down to the point where what you already said at the end of the draft when the Lifestealer was even picked. You would have liked to see more of a standard carry there, and Lifestealer, he's just not that great in playing from behind. Yes, he's a pretty strong hero otherwise, but you need to have those just squishy targets you can easily and reliably go for. But MVP, they're just grouped up and they haven't just allowed for such openings to just take place.
Jerix is continuously glimmering in, trying to fish for a hero of GGuard. If they walk outside of their base and get caught up by the Yules, that could be disastrous. Maybe not the Sniper, he's pretty tanky and has a team behind him, but anybody else. Hasted Batriders flying up in the air as Net wants to find somebody out on the retreat. But there's not going to be anybody close except for Soonby on the Nyx Assassin. Although Juggernaut walks up into him, he's going to get lassoed up sooner rather than later, or is he? The Batrider doesn't pull the trigger. Now Orchid It Up can pull that trigger. A bit of hesitation there might cost them, although they're going to blink in. Echo Slam onto Forev. He's able to get off the Omni Slash, obliterating Earthshaker, now dropping Ben incredibly low. Forev with the healing ward, still going to survive, glimmered away by the Lina. Is going to be able to get back into this fight too. The lasso up Soonby, but they're not even focusing down the Nyx. He doesn't drop a single point of HP during that. A 3-0 MVP, get away with murder.
Question, what was that initiation? Why did he not straight out lasso the target?
I think Net just wasn't sure of their damage output or something, but that hesitation cost GGuard big. Now high ground pushes, they're taking down a tier 3, and they already bought back on their Rubik, silencing him instantly. He can't get off anything, even though he didn't have the lasso up. They're going to lift up a creep, but the tier 3 tower has already fallen, and MVP can feel comfortable just to back off. They don't lose anything getting that tier 3 kills and a buyback.
That was just so painful, really, for GGuard at the moment. Now they're at a 14,000 net worth deficit. Yes, they haven't lost racks yet, but I'd say that's a small consolation that you haven't lost them yet, because it kind of feels like it's gonna be inevitable. Of course, MVP, they're probably gonna back down until the Omni Slash is off cooldown once more, but if you don't kill off a Juggernaut straight out, exactly what happened is gonna happen next time as well. You pop the Omni Slash, you have the healing ward down later, although, Zombie gets scouted out. Gets a Spike Carapace, but I don't think he's gonna make it out. Just too many heroes surrounding him.
Yeah, an awkward spot to be cut out as a Nyx Assassin. It's going to happen a couple times each game. 2-8 and 5, the Nyx Assassin's performance hasn't been particularly flashy, but he has made a decent amount of space for the Queen of Pain and Juggernaut, and they're the ones to really benefit from that extra bit of wiggle room. As well as Selena, in all honesty. He's almost sitting on enough for a Blink Dagger, half of an Aghanim Scepter. Jerax is getting a lot out of this map. If you just took a look at this, you probably wouldn't expect this to have been a support Lina.
Yeah, by this point, not at least anymore. Of course, had he been like on a core role from the start, probably would have that Aghanim Scepter by now as well, but even then, really doing a great job. Has stayed alive for a really long time. Hasn't been a part of maybe the most kills, but even then, only died once this game is a pretty nice accomplishment of its own, especially considering you were up against a Lifestealer, who otherwise should just eat a support Lina for breakfast. At least before the point that the Glimmer Cape or the Eul Scepter comes out, and Eul Scepter is a fairly recent purchase for her.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Jerax also has enough net worth to have had the Aghanim Scepter if he didn't go for the Glimmer Cape Soul Ring, which I think is a good item choice. The Glimmer Cape has gotten so much value. They're going to get a Blink Lasso, but Forev got an Invis Rune. They have an Assassination onto him. They pull him up to the high ground. Can they kill off this Jug? He's going to be glimmered up by the Lina. They'll steal a spell from him. The Blade Fury has been taken away. But Forev is going to be safe just to spin Blink out of there alive. GGuard did not have the damage to kill off the Jug, and Jug had backup. There's going to be another Assassinate, but that hardly tickles Forev.
Well, I can't say anything else other than just Batrider's initiations, or the effectiveness of the Batrider initiations hasn't really been there for this game. Ben will be able to TP out, of course, with the Rage. Even if the Light Striker had been there in time, wouldn't have stunned the target through Magic Immunity. As now MVP, they get the Blink Hicks onto the Link, Earthshaker. There's gonna be no escape from this one. Just too much mobility coming out, and they might get more. Forev still has the Omni Slash. Silence into Winter, nice 4-step, will keep him safe for now, but Forev, he wants blood and he's gonna get it.
With a very quick and easy Omni Slash, that's going to be the end of Rubik's life. Maybe not worth it for the solo kill onto the support, but honestly, I don't think it matters. Even without having Omni Slash, Forev is absolutely dishing. He's currently sitting about 4,000 net worth ahead of the Sniper, and as far as raw damage output is concerned, Forev is just doing more with his innately lower base attack time, as well as having a built-in crit. You really can't compare the Blade Dance to the Take Aim. It just really doesn't stack up. They're going to look for a kill up on top as Jerax is glimmering around, and he's going to find Eul's initiation on Yamate, or does he even need the Eul Scepter? He's going to drop the Light Strike Ray and the Laguna Blade, forcing out the BKB from Yamate. Fissure to disengage. It's going to be pretty nice. The Blink and Echo onto 4. Where's the follow-up damage, however? Ling is alone. They needed their Lifestealer. They needed their bat, but they're nowhere to be found. Although a good idea in theory, Yamate isn't dishing enough. They're going to get a Blink Lasso in mid. They might be able to focus down Heen, but he's already gotten Serpent Wards down, and Heen still survives for a little bit longer. Now Ben is getting cleaved down by Juggernaut's sword. They'll impale him up. He can't have a Rage all the time, and he's going to end up losing his life. Melee barracks being focused by the Jug, ranged barracks being focused by the Serpent Wards, and MVP are going to break high ground.
I think this won't just be limited to even 1 Rax. They could easily go and just get top 1 as well. Healing Ward is still on cooldown, but I don't think it should stop them. Or never mind, they're gonna back off. Maybe go into Rosh and just play it absolutely safe. They weren't quite sure maybe if Lifestealer has buyback or not, but they get the 1 Rax advantage. They get tons of gold out of it. MP, for example, has a Hyperstone, and it's gonna go for the AC and gonna have it soon enough finished as well even. Only needs the Chainmail. Jerax gonna have an Aghanim Scepter in about 500, 400 gold. And this Aegis, who's gonna pick it up? I mean, Forev doesn't really need it in all honesty, so maybe give it to Queen of Pain even.
It looks like they're considering giving it to the Queen of Pain, but he also has a Quelling Blade to drop on the Juggernaut. It's a little bit more convenient for him to just drop that slot. It's gonna make him completely invulnerable to the initiation coming out from GGuard. They're going to have to commit a lasso and or Echo Slam to kill off the Juggernaut the first time around. Killing him off the second time just doesn't seem very probable unless they can pick off the rest of his teammates, which just doesn't look very likely. At the moment, GGuard need to find some sort of smoke pickoff to defend their high ground. Taking a straight up fight really isn't going to cut it. They have a Crystallis on their sniper, but Crystallis or not, a Blinken Omni Slash would kill him, but yeah, he's not going to be able to find that angle. Forev just a little shy on the range.
Forev though does have 3.4k, 3.5 now that the tower falls in the bank. So he can easily go for that next item whenever he wants. Oh, there's the Blink Omni Slash, got the BKB out and should still get the kill, I think. One more attack. Omni Slash was a little bit lacking, but there was no disables to just get Forev out immediately off that fight. Another set of Mass Serpent wards. Omni Slash, however, did get stolen.
Even with that Omni Slash, I'm not sure they can do it. They'll Orchid up Winter, and he's not going to be able to use it. 3-man Impale, 3-man Sonic Wave, and MVP wiped the floor with GGuard. My goodness, that combination couldn't have gone any better. Who needs Ravage when you have Impale?
Just perfectly done, in all honesty, Zumbi. He did struggle early on, but after like the first 10-15 minutes, he really found his own, or rather MVP in general. Just great team play, great individual play, and definitely deserving this victory here. But with this, we are done for this game. It was the winner bracket semi, so if you're a GGuard fan, don't worry too much because there's going to be a lower bracket for them to drop into as well. Of course, we will have at least one more game, probably even two, and the next one should be now Signature Trust versus GGuard, actually, I believe. Yep, I do believe that's going to be... Oh, never mind, it's going to be Signature Trust versus Mineski instead, I think. In any case, we're going to have one best of one coming up at least next. Hopefully it's going to start within the next half an hour, I would sincerely hope so. So at 7 CE EST, Central European Summertime, or at 13 SGT, we're going to have Signature Trust coming up against Mineski here, most likely. If not, it's going to be TNC going up against GGuard. One of the two matches will be broadcasted here, the other one, of course, on Gosu TV1. If you like the casters, you can check us out at Coucher for me, at GrandisV for my co-caster, and well, just a few songs now to finish this game, and we will be back hopefully within the next half an hour with the next one.